All right, so this is Industrialism number 13. We're almost done here, kids. So we're still talking about labor unions. And one of the things that happens with labor unions is something called arbitration. You normally have two sides. Remember, everything we talk about, there's always two sides. So, for example, with the teachers union, you have the teachers who are wanting contracts, and they're wanting certain things in their contracts. Normally that's, better insurance, more pay, classroom sizes capped at a certain number. Those types of things are what we're wanting. While the school board is wanting, to not pay us as much. They're wanting more kids in the class so that, they're getting more money in as the district. So normally the two sides don't agree. And this happens basically at every workplace where there is a union and a boss. The NFL, you have the NFLPA, and then the owners. They have arbitration issues all the time. In Major League Baseball, December is a huge time for arbitration. What happens is the players say, hey, I think I'm worth more money. I want more money. So the players and the owners have to make that agreement. So basically, what arbitration is, you're bringing in a third party to settle the dispute between normally those two feuding parties, which are the owners and the labor unions. Labor Day, which is the first Monday in September, was started because of labor unions. There is a link here. You can go to that link, and you can do a little bit of extra research on Labor Day and watch this video here. It's pretty interesting, so you guys can watch that if you would like. It was first held in 1882 in New York, and you guys can see here they have Labor Day parades. We normally don't have Labor Day parades, but some larger cities actually do have them. This gentleman here, it was one of our major union guys back in the late 1800s. His name is Samuel Gompers. He was the president of the AFL. All right. Now, if you guys have ever heard of people like Jimmy Hoffa, I guess just Jimmy Hoffa. One of the things that Jimmy Hoffa was is he actually was a union guy, and a lot of people didn't like him because of how much he was in the union. Now, that's more 1900s, mid to late 1900s than what it was 1800s. But you guys kind of get the idea. That movie on Netflix that just came out last year would be a good one to watch to get you an idea about better idea about labor unions. All right, the AFL. Now, this is a craft makers union, which means it's not for unskilled people. Craft makers, this would be a skilled labor union. All right, it focuses on collective bargaining, wages, hours, and working conditions. Collective bargaining is a term where you have a small group of people who bargain. Bargain is like when you ask for things, like I just mentioned, like the teachers union. We have like 120 teachers at Ontario. You can't get all 120 teachers to agree on, three things that we want. So normally we have a small group of teachers. There are three of them that bargain on our behalf. Collective means as a group or for the group. So those three teachers then collectively bargain on our behalf. And what they want is, what the AFL wants is better wages, better hours, better working conditions. And they were one of the first to use strikes as a major tactic. Their average pay went from $17.50 a week to $24 a week, and the average work week went from 54 and a half hours to 49 hours. This here's the dream, kids. You make more money doing less work, all right? And that's what they were able to do. So when you have a labor union and they're strong, they're able to get things done for you, and that's what the labor unions did, is they got them more money and less work. And again, we have to think about if it's good for one side, it's bad for another. So if this is good for the workers, who's it bad for? You should be thinking the bosses. The bosses aren't going to like this. So remember, if it's good for one side, it's not good for another. No, this is not Coach Fisher. However, it does look like Coach Fisher. This is Eugene V. Debs. All right. He was one of our first socialists that came out after some of the writings by Marx and Engels. He wanted to unite all workers regardless of skill in a specific industry, and that specific industry for him was the railway union. And he wanted to unite them, and you guys can see here, Workers of the World Unite, Socialist Party. Eugene V. Debs was running for president. This is the end. We're going to continue talking about this in the next video. This was Industrialism number 12.